What if this is all there is? The silent trap of repetition and routine. There comes a moment in life that hits you quietly, almost like a whisper you can't ignore. It doesn't shout, it doesn't break anything around you. It simply sits there in your chest and asks the question you've been avoiding. How did so much time pass while so little actually changed? You wake up one morning and everything feels familiar, too familiar. The same roads, the same conversations, the same worries dressed in slightly different clothes. You move through your day like you've already lived it before, like your body knows the script before your mind even catches up. And when the night comes, when the noise dies down, and you're left alone with your thoughts, that feeling creeps in. Not pain exactly, not even sadness, just a hollow awareness that today was just another version of yesterday, and tomorrow is already lining up to be the same. This is the moment most people run from. They distract themselves, scroll along, talk louder, stay busier, because facing it feels like admitting something dangerous, that maybe life hasn't been moving forward the way you thought it would. And that's where the real discomfort begins. Because deep down, you start to wonder if you've been living on a loop, not growing, not changing, just repeating. Nobody likes to admit it, but most of life is repetition. Not the highlight reel, not the big wins, not the once-in-a-lifetime moments. Those are rare. What fills your days is the same cycle over and over and over again. Wake up, go to work, solve problems, get tired, rest, repeat. You were taught to expect something else. You were sold a vision that life would unfold into something extraordinary, that one day everything would click, everything would make sense, and you would finally feel complete. But that moment doesn't come the way you imagined. Instead, life becomes maintenance, paying bills that never stop, fixing problems that keep coming back in new forms, feeding yourself just to be hungry again, cleaning spaces that will get messy again. This isn't failure. This is the structure of human existence. But here's where it turns dangerous. The problem isn't the repetition. The problem is the expectation that life shouldn't be repetitive. That belief creates a quiet tension inside of you, a feeling that something is wrong, when in reality, nothing is wrong at all. You start comparing your real life to the life you thought you would have, and that gap begins to hurt, not loudly, but constantly, a low hum of dissatisfaction that follows you everywhere. And then comes the thought people don't like to say out loud, that most of your life will be spent doing things you don't fully enjoy, for outcomes that don't last, in exchange for a sense of security that never quite feels secure. That's not negativity, that's honesty. The mind doesn't break from tragedy as often as you think. It breaks from sameness, from the endless cycle that never seems to end. That's what wears people down. Not the storms, but the steady drizzle that never stops. So what do people do? They chase change. They think a new job, a new place, a new relationship will fix it. And for a moment it does. The brain lights up. Everything feels fresh. but it doesn't last. Because wherever you go, you bring yourself with you. The same patterns, the same thoughts, the same expectations. The scenery changes, but the experience repeats. And now you're tired, not just physically, but mentally, because you've tried to outrun something that was never outside of you. Then comes another realization, a heavier one. Nobody is coming to rescue you from your life. No perfect moment, no sudden breakthrough, no magical turning point that changes everything forever. That idea you've been holding on to, it's not arriving. And that's when things get real. Because you're left with what actually is, not what could be, not what should be, just what is. And for many people, that is absolutely terrifying. But it's also the beginning of something honest. After fighting reality for so long, something inside you starts to slow down. Not because you've given up, but because you're finally seeing clearly. Maybe the problem was never your life. Maybe the problem was the story you believed about what life was supposed to be. You were chasing extraordinary moments in a life that is mostly ordinary. And because of that, you overlooked the only thing that was ever truly yours, the everyday experience of being alive. This is where maturity begins. Not in achieving more, but in understanding more. This is a kind of strength in accepting reality without needing it to be different. Not settling, just seeing clearly. Recognizing that most of life will not be dramatic, and it doesn't make it meaningless. In fact, it's the opposite. The small things you ignored are the real substance of your life. The quiet conversations, the repeated effort, the moments that don't look important but make up everything. When you stop waiting for life to become something else, something shifts, not outside of you, but inside. You begin to notice what was always there. It's not spectacular, it's not glamorous, but it's real. The truth is simple, but it's not easy to accept. Life is not a constant rise towards something bigger. It's a steady movement through repetition, responsibility, and small moments that rarely announce their importance. You can spend years fighting that, waiting for something else to begin, or you can face it directly and start living in what already exists. Because the real tragedy is not that life is repetitive. The real tragedy is spending your life waiting for it to stop being what it has always been. Time is not standing still. It's moving, whether you notice it or not. And while you're waiting for something extraordinary, it's quietly passing you by. You don't need a different life. You need a different relationship with the life you already have. That's where the freedom is. Not in escape, not in constant change, but in finally seeing clearly and choosing to live anyway. I hope this helps a lot of people. Because when we look at social media and we're so stimulated waiting for that big time to happen, which could happen, but what about living life and enjoying those small moments that seem insignificant? Enjoying them every day because they're not. Those are great moments. Live them and enjoy. Living and being alive. LanceScurv out. On to the next one. Thank you for being here with me. Peace.